Okay, welcome back to part 2 of our video and learning from last time how boring and long it took to cover the pages. I have already gone ahead and covered all of my pages. So they're all covered and ready to go. And I have to stop at 5, whether I can fit all the pictures in or not. I have to stop at 5 because there wasn't even enough paper in the 6x6 pad to cover everything here. I had to make do with these, and the back sides of these aren't covered. There's random spots that aren't covered that I'll find another way to do something with, but for now I have to stop here. So that means I have 5 pages, so I need to create my spine for that size. So I've already done some measuring, and what I did is I measured 1/8 of an inch and then 1/4 of an inch, 1/8 of an inch and then 1/4 of an inch. Okay, let me see if you can see that. So where I scribbled on the lines, that's where I'm gonna put the pages, and then the non-scribbled, the 1/8 of an inch right there, that's going to be the gap between the pages. Okay, and so I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to cut this off after the 5th. So let me get my cutter here. I have 1/8 of an inch before, and I'm going to have 1/8 of an inch after the last one, too. 3, 4, 5. So I'm going to cut it right there. And then there is my spine, so you can see what it looks like. Where, once again, where I scribbled, that's going to be where the pages go. Okay? Oops. So, one thing I do want to do is cover. I want to put some color where I'm not going to have any pages. And so that it's not just that plain, boring color. Okay, so how I'm going to do that is with some Distress Stain in Worn Lipstick. I'm going to use that, and the first thing I'm going to do is go along the edges, because everything is going to show along the edges. Oh, this might not work. Might not give me enough color. I'll have to see what it looks like when it dries. And then I'm just going to run it along the gaps too. So there we have that. And then I need to dry it up really good. Didn't quite give it enough color, so I'm going to go ahead and go over all those spots one more time and see if that will give it any more color. See if that helps at all. And then we'll dry it one more time. Well, it's a very light pink shade. I think I'm gonna try a little something different here. Okay. I'm not sure if this is going to work any different, but we'll see. And just I'm putting a little bit of a hot pink ink, alcohol ink down, and then I'm squirting it a little bit with some Primrose shiny stuff. We'll mix it up a little bit. There we go. And then I'm just painting that. I'm going to do all of the edges and then all of the spots in between where my pages will go. Now it's a much brighter pink. And it's shiny to boot, so there's that too. The only thing that's really important is that you're still able to see your lines, because it'll help you get it straighter. I probably should have watered it a little bit so it's just a little bit lighter, but it's alright. It's definitely going to be a better match to the color I wanted. You could also do that with washi tape if you wanted to too. Now, let's see if you can get an idea of how shimmery that is. It's definitely shimmery. Okay. Alrighty, so now we have that done. Now, the next step is to put the actual pages on. Okay. Now, actually, let's work on doing it. Let's put the covers and whatnot together. Okay. So the first thing we do is we go for our outsides there, and then oops, that wasn't good. I don't think I want that one. I think I'm gonna go with that for my covers and that for my spine. Okay, so the first thing I have to do is cut this down. And since my things here are 6, but I'm gonna have an overlap of my spine, I can still use this for both the cover and the back. So I'm going to cut this down first to 6 inches. Okay. And then cut that edge off. Alright, now we have that. So now we want this. I hate when I do that. Okay, so we kind of want this to come over about that much on all the sides. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a little mark there. Like so. Bring this in and cut. Save those, and then we get our spine. And now I know I want it to run that way and not, well, I guess it really doesn't matter. Let's do it this way. So I know I need to, I want about that much on either side of it, so I'm going to cut it there. Yeah, that works. There we go. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cut this to the same height as these are. And save that as well. Alright. Now we start off with our spine. That may seem like a lot of adhesive, but I really want to make sure that it sticks. Just gonna make sure that that's centered as best as possible on there. So there we have that. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is adhere this to that, okay, because it'll make it a little bit easier. So I'm just going to put some adhesive right along the edge of that, and also along the edge of my paper. And then I'm just gonna line them up and stick them down, and that looks pretty good. It's a good combination. Okay, then put my adhesive right along the edge again. Take this, put it right along the edge, and line them up, stick them down. Then I turn it over and it's not exactly straight. Let's try it one more. It's gonna have to be good enough. That'll be my back. So this side is my front then. I want to label it so I don't forget. Front. Okay. This side's my front, this side's my back. And then we just have to put these down. And I'm going to leave about 1/8 of an inch gap between the two. Okay. Put some adhesive along here. Because I'm wrapping it and this part doesn't matter quite as much as the spine, I'm not going to use as much adhesive there. I am going to take my ruler, stick it on there so that it's nice and level. Then that way I can make sure I'm getting 1/8 of an inch gap and also that my thing stays level. So there's that. And now I'm going to write front here because I want to make sure that this stays my front. I'm going to line those up. Take my back. Apply my adhesive to the outside. And then line it up, mark 1/8 of an inch. That's about right. Okay. Now turn it over and apply lots of pressure. Lots and lots of pressure. Just like that. Then fold them up. And we have a very nice little edge there. And then I'm just going to roll my edges around here. Make them nice and sharp there. And roll them here. And then nice and sharp. Just like so. Then same thing this way, which sometimes can be a little bit more tricky. Just make sure that you don't press down until you have done the pushing them in like that, and then you'll get a better fold there. And last, okay, now we have all those down. Let's, oops, sorry about that, trim this off. Trim that off, just like that. Okay, and then I like to start with the sides. So I'm going to put adhesive there, and then I'm going to put adhesive on the edge of the paper there. Turn it around, put adhesive there, and on the edge of the paper. Then fold it up, making sure that it's nice and tight, and you have nice crisp lines. It'll make it look really a lot better that way if you do. There we go. And then do the same thing on the bottom. Whoops. Hold up, nice tight wrapping there. Nice and tight, which gives you nice crisp corners or crisp edges. I tend to make sure that I really get it in the seams too. That part is really important. And there is our book. Looking good so far, huh? Okay. So our next step now is we're going to put our first page, we're going to run this seam right along this scribbled part here. Okay, so up close you're going to run this seam right in between those first two pink lines. Okay, I guess I really didn't need to cover the edges, but oh well. So just like that. And I think for this one I'm going to use a wet glue because these are going to be used a lot and you want to allow for movement, and I just don't think, I don't trust my tape gun to allow movement. So I'm using Aleene's Clear Gel Tacky Glue, and we'll see if it holds. And the one thing I'm making sure to do is to line it up so I have the same amount of space and it's just nice and straight. Okay. And the other benefit of using a tacky glue like this is you have the option to move it around a little bit if you need to. The one thing though I don't want to do is open it up to press it down because I don't want it to stick to any glue that may have seeped out like I have here. So I'm just going to give it a minute and hold it upright and apply a little firm pressure to allow it to really take hold. Before I, set it down, or before I let it go. Okay, and then I'm going to open it up and I'm just going to run my bone folder right along that edge there and then fold it up And see, you can see it's coming up now because I don't. That's the hard thing about this, is that you have to give it longer to dry. You could use a hot glue if you wanted to, but I think a hot glue would dry too fast to suit my needs. So you have to pick and choose a little bit longer, or, you know, what do you do, right? So we're gonna leave that up right like that. Whoops. And I'm just gonna put my next one on. Maybe this time use a tad less glue. I did have quite a good amount on there. And then I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna use the back side, because now I can't see from the front. Line it up to the best of my abilities, making sure it's lined up with the top and the bottom as well. And then hold it down. And one thing I'm seeing is that I may not have given it enough of a gap in between the pages, but that's okay. I don't intend to add a whole lot of bulk to it besides the pictures. So I think I'll be okay with it this way. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of gap in there, but that's okay. Open it up, press down your center there, and then just continue to hold it, I guess. You gotta give it a little time to take hold, huh? A better tape would probably work a little bit better, because then you wouldn't have to hold it. But I don't have any score tape right now, and I don't have any red tape on me. The red line tape. Both of those would be a good tape for this, but gotta make do with what I have. Shoot. Oh, good. Okay. Pay attention to how you put them on there. I thought maybe I just put that one on there wrong, but I didn't. It is right. Hold it on there again. Let it sit. Sorry, this part's kind of boring. I'll put the rest on, and then I'll come back with another video and we'll do the rest of the decorating. How's that sound?